Taric is a safe choice for anyone who's kinda new at playing supports, as he boasts a good combination of CC, including stuns, a good heal, some good tankiness as well, and some of the best auras in the game. Taric's passive is Gemcraft. Taric will heal himself for 7.5% of damage dealt when auto-attacking enemies. This is good in the early stages of the game, because Taric is a very mana-hungry support. Although I would point out that you should probably tell your AD carry that this is why you're auto-attacking minions. Try not to get last hits, by the way, because he will start to rage at you. Taric's Q is Imbue. Taric will heal himself and one other ally, or only himself, for a reasonable amount. This has a good effect in that you can heal both parts of the bot lane very quickly and very efficiently. However, note that if Taric only heals himself, he'll heal himself for not double, but only 140% of the normal heal. This will prevent Taric from becoming kind of unkillable. Due to the efficient healing abilities of this ability, I take this about level 2 and max it by level 9. Taric's W is Shatter. Taric has an aura around him that gives allied champions a bonus amount of armor. Taric also gets armor just for himself, equal to that bonus. Taric can shatter his own personal armor bonus and deal damage to all those enemies around him, although he will lose the bonus armor for himself until the aura around him reforms. This does decent damage, and I like the aura, so generally I take this about level 3, but max it by level 13. Taric's E is Dazzle. Taric will stun an enemy champion for 1.5 seconds. This has a minimum and maximum damage depending on how far away Taric is. The closer he is, the more damage he will do. This has great decreasing cooldowns over the levels, and I take this about level 1, maxing it last by level 18. However, if you want, you can take it before you max out Shatter, if you want a higher amount of CC in teamfights. Taric's ultimate is a fantastic spell, and it's called Radiance. Taric will slam his hammer into the ground, and he will deal decent damage, but what's better is that Taric will deign up to 70 attack damage and ability power for 10 seconds, and will give half of that ability power and attack damage to all nearby allies. This is an amazing tool in teamfights, and will probably mean that you win more than you probably should, because if you think about it, a 35 attack damage bonus to an AD carry, say at 2 hits per second, plus crits that are probably almost 100%, means that you're going to get an extra 175 damage per second from your AD carry. Now that is something that is incredible, and no other allied champion in the game is able to do anything like that. As a result, as with all other ultimates, I take this at level 6, 11 and 16. The laning phase of Taric should be relatively simple. All you really need to do is heal your AD carry whenever needed, and stun the enemy AD carry whenever possible to get up some good harass. Here we've lost Draven to a good enemy gank, and while he's returning to lane, me and Aurelia decide to gank Ashe ourselves. Here Ashe moves into the brush and I illuminate it with CV. I then stun Ashe, and Aurelia pops her ultimate. With Shatter we pick up the kill. Notice here how afterwards I heal Aurelia as well as myself. This shows how versatile Taric is just generally as a support. Later on in the game we push the enemy back to their turret. Ashe is nowhere to be seen as she's returning to lane. I put a ward down on the river, and I'm just returning back to my lane. Warwick comes out of the brush and starts an engagement. He's underleveled, but he will kill Draven. I stun Warwick and heal Draven simultaneously. Warwick runs away, which is a good idea, but then he turns back into the fight. As Nidalee has retreated, he dies very quickly. I pick up the kill. Later, Ashe comes back to lane. Here, she's slowing Draven down. He's about to die. I use my summoner heal to keep him alive just long enough. We turn back on her, as Nidalee has gone back into the river. Here, Draven is overleveled and his DPS is high enough. He uses a summoner heal, and I stun Ashe to pick up the kill. This does pick up a lot of annoyance from Draven, although I did try and do this only to keep him alive. OMFG chaos! Later on in the game, me and Draven are just simply farming boss, as one does, before we get a call to move to Dragon. We see Garen moving through the river, however he uses his Q to get out of the way. Here Aurelia decides to move into the brush, however none of us know this, and she gets ambushed and taken down almost immediately. However, I managed to heal her at the last moment and get my ultimate off right in the middle of their formation. I stun Warwick, and although Lee Sin gets killed by Warwick and a combination of Garen ult, we managed to kill the enemy team for only one loss. As a result of this, we take Dragon only a few moments later. When looking at runes for Taric, I tend to take 9 flat armor penetration marks, 6 flat armor seals, 3 mana regen per level seals, and 9 magic resistance per level glyphs. I also take 3 gold per 10 second quintessences. be honest, I don't have any more than 2 rune pages, because I'm not going to waste 6,300 on a new rune page, because I want Nautilus too much. So, in all fairness, I would actually say get attack damage per level marks, as this will actually mean that your Gemcraft does actually a lot more replenishment for the mana. The flat armor is just basically so you don't get killed by AD carries. If you're finding that you actually don't get short on mana, you can actually increase that to 9 as well. The mana regen per level means that you have no late game mana shortage whatsoever. The 9 magic resist per level, again, gives you that tankiness late game, because let's be honest, you're not going to be taking on much magic damage in the early stages of the game. And the 3 gold per 10-second contestances is basically something that you just need for all supports, as it will give you that amazing ability to buy tons of stuff without actually killing anything. Because let's be honest, you're not going to get much gold as it is, so you need as much as possible for all those wards, oracles, etc, etc, etc. When looking at Mastery to Taric, I generally go for a 9-0-21 setup, getting increased attack and CDR in offense, and in utility, getting pretty much everything. From taking all those gold masteries that will give me that extra gold throughout the game for all those wards, but not the starting gold, because quite frankly they are shit. The increased XP, because I will be under leveled and I need to get as much XP as I can. And also I will take as much mana, mana regen, and mana per level as I can lay my hands on in the utility tree. I also take the increased summoner cooldown, just because it allows me to spam out those exhausts, flashes, CVs, and those ever important heals as much as possible. When looking at summoner spells, I tend to take CV and either summoner heal, flash, or exhaust. However, I almost always take summoner heal. CV is just something you need as a support. Don't listen to those people who say that you only use it once a map. They are fools! Summoner CV is just a fantastic tool. You can use it just on any buff at any time, and you know, it may give your jungle a little bit of help. For instance, if they see the enemy red buff up, they're going to go for it. They might be able to put up an ambush, they may be able to get the red buff and steal the XP, whatever. It's all really useful to have a CV, because it gives you that additional map awareness, especially when you get to even higher elo levels and people actually start understanding about the idea of counter warding. I generally take summoner heal just because I have the synergy from my own heal, and I just generally like having a heal. It gives me good sort of security, especially when, you know, they're ganking or something bad's happening. I have that heal in my back pocket. I can just shoot it out, you know, right in the middle of a 2v2, and hey, we win the 2v2. It's just a fantastic extra buff to have. Exhaust is also another thing you can use. Coordinating with ganks is very useful. Make sure you have one exhaust per team. Ask someone else to take the exhaust, probably the jungler. If he doesn't want to, you can take it instead. But it is actually something that is very, very important. You must have one per team. That is just a given rule. Flash is also takeable, because you can use it to flash in and maybe get a dazzle off on someone who's running away, or you can even just use it to get out of those sticky situations. When playing as Taric, I generally open up with a Fairy Charm, a Mana Potion, and 3 Sight Wards. This is useful just because a Mana Potion is going to give me good sustain, because I am quite mana hungry. When you get more experience with Taric, you can probably switch the Mana Potion out and take a couple of health potions instead, or even just go for a Vision Ward. After this, I go for Philosopher's Stone and Heart of Gold. This is good because I need all that gold for the Vision Wards, Sight Wards, and even an Oracles here and there. I then go for Mercury Treads. This is just for the tenacity, and also I need a bit of speed, because you can't be that slow late game. I then go for an Aegis of Legion, just because I think it's kind of an underrated item, if I'm honest, and the aura is one of the best in the game. Because don't think of the attack damage of 8 as being worthless, because with crits, that goes up to 20. After this, I go for Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart is probably the best item in the game for any support, particularly tanky ones, as it gives you that 20% less attack speed for all enemy champions. While this means pretty much nothing for an AP caster, for an AD carry, like, it can absolutely screw them up majorly, majorly, majorly. It will also give you some good mana, and the armor is nothing to be looked down upon, as it has the 2nd highest armor rating in the game. This is a fantastic item for Taric because he needs the mana, and hey, some good tankiness is something that he'll like. I then take my Philosopher's Stone and bump it up to Shirelia's Reverie. The reason for this, because obviously the active on this is fantastic, and I get a bit of CD reduction as well, which will allow me to spam my heals a bit more. I then take my Heart of Gold and turn it into Randuit's Omen. Again, I love the active on this, because combined with Frozen Heart, you're basically taking all enemies' attack speed down to about 50%, give or take a few percent. And every time they attack you, they'll have their attack speed slowed as well, although that is a 25% chance. And again, it gives you some good tanking, it's giving you more armor. As a result, I think that those are fantastic combos for Taric. I don't generally buy a last item, just because I like to have full free space for rewards and oracles. And to be honest, if you have a lot of money at the end of the game, you can probably just like get elixirs and stuff, because I mean, there's no point not getting elixirs at the end of the game anyway, and you really do want to kind of keep those wards to keep that map awareness up. If you really want to take a final item, however, I'd recommend taking either Rabadon's or Abyssal Scepter for AP, as this will mean that your heals are fantastic and you can do more damage with things like Shatter and Radiance and Dazzle. If you want to go for more AD, I'd recommend Atma's Impaler, because this will give you good AD and some great attack damage as well. Overall, I feel this is a fantastic build for Taric, as it gives him good tankiness, AP, AD, and you know what, it even gives him some amazing auras to buff the ones he already has. You have been watching the Taric Support Champion Spotlight, produced by the FFGamers group. I've been SSJ, your host for this Champion Spotlight, and please feel free to comment, rate and subscribe. If you have any ideas about builds that you would use for Taric, please put them in the boxes below, and hey, if you're lucky, I may actually have the time to reply to them and say what I think about them. I hope you use my build in future games, test it out, tell me what you think about it, and also I hope you check the rest of our network out as well.